Hey you guys, this is Shanita. Thank you for clicking onto another video. So, I have just finished working out. I am nasty and sweaty and I need a shower desperately, and my hair also needs washing. So, I thought I would come on and record my pre-pooing process so that once I jump in the shower, I can kill two birds at one stone. I promised some of you a video on detangling and kind of how I help to keep my tangles down and prevent a lot of breakage. So this is going to be that video. I have no idea what it's going to be entitled yet, but I'm going to be as detailed as I can to help you through some of those tangles. So if you are interested in seeing that, then stay tuned. Okay, so what I have decided to do is, for those that have not seen it before, I try to pre-poo every single wash day. Every now and then I don't have time and I don't do it. That's very, very unlikely because I have seen the benefits of what it has done for my hair. So I typically never ever do go without a pre-poo, even if that means I only do it for 20 or 30 minutes. So I have the African Pride pre-poo, the pre-shampoo treatment here, and I'm going to do this pre-poo on one side and I'm going to use an oil on the other side. Now this particular oil is by Life Flow. It says super vitamin E oil, and I'm trying to think where I got it from. I don't know, but it does not have to be this brand of oil. I have tons of oils, but I chose this one because it has sweet almond oil in the first ingredient, which tells me there's more sweet almond oil in here than anything else. And I love, love, love pre-pooing with sweet almond oil. It also has vitamin E and palm oil and vitamin C in it. So I think this is going to be a good one to pre-poo with. I typically use it on my body, but I'm going to try it today on my skin. So you get a chance to see what the difference is in doing it with a pre-poo and also the oil at one time. If you have never been here before, welcome. Thank you so much for clicking on. I hope you will find something here that will be beneficial to you or to someone you know. Feel free to share this video, and I hope that something here will be helpful to you. So I am going to do what I typically do with my hair, which is section it off. I put it into sections. I typically put it into 6 sections. This is what it is looking like coming down. And I know those of you that I talked to said that you typically do wash and goes. And this is my braid out, old braid out. And I braided it up to 3 days ago, and so what I'm going to do is try to talk through this as if I am coming off of a wash and go. So the absolute first thing I do is to, except I don't have it, but I dampen it with water. I'll be right back. Okay, so I bought refresher sprays as well. All of them are right at the bottom. It's so bizarre. So I bought water and I bought a couple of refreshing sprays. You can use whatever works for you. But the first thing I would tell you is to do not try to detangle or handle your hair at all if it is dry. If it is your wash day, then probably your hair has evaporated all the moisture at this point. And the first thing you want to do before you even touch it is to lubricate it a bit. Just slightly mist, doesn't have to be a lot. Hardly any water in here, but to just mist your hair, because especially at the ends, because you are going to be manually detangling your hair, and if you go to start separating it while it dries, then you're going to get a lot of breakage. So I am going to, you know what, I'm going to go off camera and detangle, and I'll be right back. Okay, I thought I would just kill 2 birds with 1 stone because I am just coming off from working out. I'm going to say to you, if you work out, I hope you do. You may not be a heavy sweater and may not have this problem, but I sweat it is just atrocious, like so bad. It looks like I have just gotten out of a pool wet, usually once I am done. So I like to wash or co-wash my hair about twice a week because I sweat so bad, and the sweat of course comes from my scalp, and it gets my hair wet, and sweat is nasty. You are releasing toxins from your body. Sweat is made up of a lot of salt and ammonia, urea, sugars, and so all that stuff ends up in your hair, and so it's just not good to stay on your hair or scalp, definitely not your scalp, for very long. So I have sectioned my hair off into 5 sections, and I typically do 6, but I'm doing 5 because I want this split down the middle. I always section off the crown of my head because my hair here is a total different texture for any of you who are new and don't understand why I do this. This part of my hair is shorter than any of the others because I had so much breakage there. It took me a long time to realize that this part of my hair had a different texture, and so I was handling it the same way. I was trying to pull it down into 4 sections. I got so much breakage. So I learned the best thing to do was to just section this off on its own. And I do typically have to treat it a little bit differently, but I just had to trim off those bad mangled split ends, and I just keep it separate now. So I am going to making sure this hair is damp, especially again on the ends. And I'm going to do the pre-poo on this side. I pre-poo because this makes my hair so easy to handle. During this pre-poo process alone, I get so much tangled hair out of my head. So I go in and I put it down the shafts of my hair, of course, definitely on the ends. And the one thing that I tell people to do that sometimes you forget to do is I take a little bit and I go inside the section and rub it on the roots of my hair in the section. That is where the tangled hair is coming from. It's coming from your roots. So if you can get the pre-poo inside your section and rub it into the roots of your hair, then that immediately starts to loosen up some of that tangled hair in there. And then I try to finger detangle. More than anything else at this point, I just separate it. I wouldn't even call this finger detangling. Just take the hair and start to pull it apart. At any point, if you feel that it is dry once you split it, then spray it again. You can, or add more pre-poo, whatever you feel like you need. Your hair should be nice and slippery with this pre-poo. Sometimes I even take and go around the edges of the perimeter because I want to make sure that all that tangled hair that is coming from my roots is going to come out. Now, I would never, you see that knot? That is tangled hair. So I would take this and work it out. It is just not good to take this and yank it. It is tangled hair. You shouldn't have to yank this out or cut it unless it is absolutely necessary. But I generally take the time and put a little oil on my fingers and try to use the friction of that oil to make those 2 strands of hair slippery enough so that the knot works itself out, or that tangled hair comes out. If it's tangled, sometimes using a little oil, and I'm going to put just a drop of oil on my fingers. I know some of you are sitting there going, girl, I wouldn't even worry about that one strand of hair. Well, I'm not going to worry about it now because I lost it. But okay, so anyway, and rub this on, and actually it will just start to do the work itself. Just let it sit in there. It will continue to absorb in the hair. So I will let that sit in there and let it start to work on its own. I think this pre-poo that I'm using is an older jar because don't the new ones say pre-poo? This one says pre-shampoo, and it looks a different color than one of the other ones that I used. This is a brand new one, so it could be um, the first one that they came out with, and maybe they changed the formulation just a tad. So as you can see, I am putting this pre-poo onto the roots of my hair. I go around each section. If it is a big section like this one, then I will go around. It's so easy to miss hair. I will take a little bit more and especially put on the ends, because again, you definitely want the ends to be slippery. This is where the shed hair is going to slide down the length of your hair and come out through the ends. So you want it to be able to easily slide out. So definitely want this to be slippery. And then again, I take a little bit more and I go into the section to rub it around the roots of my hair, because this is where the tangled hair is originating from. Starting from the root, and the goal is to get it to slide all the way down the hair shaft and come out of the ends. You can feel this and you can generally tell when it's enough. I want all of my hairs to have some on there, every single strand. And then I will loosely, very gently start to pull the section apart in smaller sections, separating it all the way to the ends. That way any knots or any dry strands won't lock in any tangled hair in between there. And if you come across any tangled hair that is coming out of these sections, it is a good time to just pull them out. And generally, I always get some out during this process, usually just one or two. It usually will just end up coming off the ends here. But of course now it won't do it, simply because I'm trying to show you. But just get it on the hair, rub it all the way through, and then I just twist it up out of the way and clip it. And I'm going to switch over and do the oil on this side. So I'm going to do this front one so that you can see it, so I don't have to turn away from the camera so much. Just misting it. You just want to be able to feel a slight mist on top of the hair, because we don't want to handle dry hair. It needs to be a little bit moist. Okay, so this is the side I'm going to do oil on, and this section is a little big, which is typically why I do 3 sections in the front. So I take oil, and you can use it generously. You can use the oil of your choice. I used to use coconut oil relentlessly. It just became the thing that I thought provided so much slip. Oh my gosh, it just helped to ease out those shedded hairs, and I was so intrigued. And that was until I tried this sweet almond oil. And if you have not tried the sweet almond oil, I really suggest you do. It provides slip just like the coconut oil, but the difference with the almond oil, I can tell the humongous difference once I go to rinse it out. My hair feels so much more moisturized with the almond oil than with the coconut oil. Coconut oil is good for preventing protein loss. It does not have protein. It just prevents the protein that's already in your hair from prevents you from losing a lot of that protein. And it also is very good for slip, but I don't find it to be very moisturizing. I thought it was until I started using the almond oil, and I could tell a huge difference in my hair. The almond oil makes it so soft, whereas the coconut oil just makes it feel a little stiff. And I did on my own, even before I started this channel, did a video, a pre-poo session where I did the almond oil on one side and the coconut oil on the other side. And so doing it in the same exact wash day made it very obvious. One side was extremely soft, and that was the almond oil. So it doesn't have to be a lot. If you go in between and you find that it's kind of dry, you can spritz it with water, add a little oil, whichever one you like. But I can feel, rubbing this down, that my hair is very lubricated. I can feel the slip. I can feel my hair very smooth. Almost cuticles are lying down. And then I'm going to tie this up, put it in my usual Bantu knots, the exact same way. And finally, for this middle section that is so tightly coiled and thicker than the rest, I take this part, make sure it's nice and damp, and this section, you guys, I have switched to doing castor oil on this section. Castor oil is so thick and so moisturizing. This hair is so thick in the middle. It's so strange how it's so much thicker and so much tighter coiled. It needs even more moisture. So I will generally, if it's near, it's not a rule, not always, try to put castor oil on this section. And it just makes it even more, more softer, gives it a little bit more moisture. And that's the difference. And again, try to go all the way around the sections, and definitely put the oil on your scalp. Did I say that? I don't think I said that. Absolutely. While you are going in between and putting that oil on the roots of your hair, it's a great time to add it to your scalp and give your scalp a nice little massage. If you don't like oils on your scalp, this is a way to keep your scalp from getting dry to add it at this point, since you're gonna wash your hair after this anyway. But the oil is good for your scalp. So you can put it on during this process before you wash it out, or you can do it afterwards. I just want to show you that I'm using a different oil here, and to show you why. I have the rest of it pent, but do you see how much shorter this is? This is why when you see my pictures, sometimes this part of the hair is sticking out, because it's just so much shorter. The breakage was so bad. I got a section of the longer hair stuck in here that I would usually put back here, but I'll show you the difference. So if you have this problem, and I've heard people say that their hair is thicker there, then get the difference. It makes up for some jacked up styling sometimes, but I'm gonna work with it. Eventually I'll cut the rest off and let it catch up. But anyway, I am going to put on my plastic cap now that this is all done, and I am going to sit up under my dryer for 30 minutes. If I had time, if I'd done this last night, like I should have, I would sleep in it. That is perfect. The longer it can sit in there, the better. Or if I was going to be around the house and don't have a whole lot to do, I would let it sit in the house while I just did whatever I needed to do for 3 or 4 hours, just to let it sit in there. You want it to sit in there as long as you can. If you don't have a lot, if you do have things to do and you're pressed for time, put a plastic cap on, sit under heat, and that will allow you to continue to work and moisturize that hair. Now, oil is not a moisturizer. I just want to say that. But what this oil does is it literally makes the hair soft, and it makes putting oil on your hair is like putting, ice skates on ice. It just gives it that slip on your hair so that it doesn't get all tangled all up like it does when it's dry. So the oil is going to provide that hair some slip so that when I'm handling it, when I'm washing it, when I'm conditioning it, that hair will smooth right on beside another one, and they will all work together because it is working together. The hairs are generally they play well together, and so both hairs are smooth. So a half curly hair is never going to be straight, but because it has some slip, if this hair rubs up against this hair, it's not going to get all tangled together. It is just going to slide right by. What can hurt you in this process, I'm going to say this before I forget, is if you've got split ends. If you have got ends that are, hair that is uneven, and longer pieces and shorter pieces, that's why I ended up having to cut this all one length, because some of it was long, some of it was short, some of it was in between. It was so split and the ends were so thin. Nothing is going to help that but a trim. You're just going to have to trim off those bad split ends so that your hair will be easier to manage. The more split ends you have, the more tangles you're going to get. The drier the ends are going to get, the harder it's going to be to work with. You're going to find yourself constantly having to pull it apart, work harder at detangling it, and well, that's no fun. So even if you put oil on those ends, at some point they're going to cause a problem. So if you are against that, then maybe just trim it a little bit at a time. I am done rinsing out my pre-poo, and I have shampooed and did my rinse out conditioner. I did not let the pre-poo and oil stay in very long. It may have been about, like I said, about 25-30 minutes. And just from rinsing it out, and then I shampooed and did a rinse out conditioner, I can still feel through those processes a very distinct difference. This side that I use the oil in is definitely softer than this pre-poo side. Definitely, like I can feel it instantly. That shows how powerful that shows how powerful pre-poos are. So I, went through the shampooing process, and what I want to tell you about the shampooing process that will help your detangling, and I thought about it as I was in there. First of all, you want to get you a good detangling brush. I have a video coming up about the best detangling brush that I have found, but prior to that one, I was using one that looks like this, which is not bad. I mean, it's the one that I was using before, and I really like this one. I thought it was fantastic when I was using it, and now I've just found one that is a tad bit better, but it is upstairs and I don't want to go back and get it. So I will leave this one downstairs since it is a very good substitute for that. What you want is a plastic one that is soft, that do not have the little balls on top of the teeth, and one that separates like this. You see how literally my entire hands could go through here. This is the kind of brush you want to detangle your curly, coily hair. It's going to save you so much work and so much breakage. So while I was shampooing, I typically put the shampoo in my hand, and of course I aim it at the scalp, all around the section, just like I did with the pre-poo, and then I hold the ends of my hair out like so, and I take my hands using the pads of my fingers and scrub my scalp. That is a very, very good way to keep your hair from tangling all up again while you are washing it. That way when you're ready to rinse, then it will easily slide out. The other key is absolutely use a good detangling rinse out conditioner. For people who skip the rinse out conditioner phase, I'm going to say that is causing you a lot of tangles. A lot of people say, well, deep conditioners doing the same thing as rinse out conditioners, and that is just not so. If I go straight into from washing to deep conditioning my hair, I have so much tangled hair still in my hair, and my hair is just not as soft coming from a shampoo because the pH of a shampoo is a little bit higher. So what I find is that putting a generous amount, and I wouldn't use an expensive one. My favorite one to use is this Main Choice 3-in-1 Revitalize and Refresh. conditioner. It's that 3-in-1 that you can use as a co-wash, leave-in, and detangler. I do not like it as a leave-in, but as a co-wash and detangler, it's great. It is very soft and it is very, very detangling. So I put it all over my hair, rub it into the sections really, really, really good. And then when I get ready to rinse, the water from the shower is coming down from the shower head. And what I do is aim my hair, the section that I'm rinsing, in the stream of that water head. Whichever way the water is going, I put my hair under there so that the flow of the water can flow down my hair. And then I take my detangling brush and I start from the ends. Detangle that little bit. Once you can get through that easily, take your hands up a little bit and then detangle that, and then up a little bit. You get the gist until you can get all the way up to the point where you can detangle from your scalp all the way down to the ends of your hair easily. Do not pull and yank at this. It can be aggravating, but you really should do it gently, very, very gently. Just start from the ends and work your way up until the entire section is detangled. It may be, now I typically, would break this up into 2 sections. You want to do it as in smaller sections as you can. It's more time, but it just works better. It just works better. You can get so much more tangled hair out of there when you do that. So what else was I in there thinking I wanted to be sure to say? What I do is, as you saw when I put in the pre-poo and put in the oil, any hair that just happens to slide out during that process is fine, but I don't depend on that to be my detangling part. Now, a lot of people use that, the pre-poo, and they just detangle right then. I put it in my hair and let it sit. That's it. Once I get in the shower, I start to rinse the water through to rinse out the pre-poo or the oil. What I find is, oh, that was the other thing. From the oil side and the pre-shampoo side, I was able to let the water stream down through this pre-shampoo side. I got a few hairs out as I was rinsing it out. On the oil side, again, the water just slid over my hair where the oil was. It made it so much more slippery. I just was able to get out way more hair on this side with the oil than I did on the shampoo side. It's okay if you don't, because that's typically not where I'm detangling, but I did notice the side with the oil just is able to, just slide out more hair. And so I pre-poo and I rinse out the pre-poo or oil, and then I shampoo or co-wash, and then I use my rinse out conditioner. This is where I do most of my detangling. I put in that rinse out conditioner and I generally just let it sit while I'm exfoliating, showering, shaving, whatever it is that I need to do in there for a few minutes. And then I rinse that out. And once I rinse that out, the same way that I do the shampoo, I let again, put in the section of my hair that is running the same direction as the shower. So say the shower is here and it's spraying water this way. So I'm gonna put my hair under the shower so that my hair is running the same direction as the water stream. I'm going to hold my hair out like this, and I'm letting all of the conditioner rinse through my hair. Once as much of the conditioner is rinsed out just from the around the sections, this is where I take my detangling brush while the water is rinsing out the rinse out conditioner, and start from the ends going up and up and up all the way up to the roots as I'm rinsing out the rinse out conditioner. I just can't say that enough. I have tried that in different places and that really, really works for me. I do generally 95% of my detangling as I'm rinsing out that rinse out conditioner, and probably the other 4% when I am rinsing out my deep conditioner. That's why also it is important to use a really good moisturizing, softening, good deep conditioner that will give you some slip. It is so vital that we use products that give our hair slip, because that is going to help with keeping your hair lubricated enough so that you're not having to yank and work so hard. The product should be slippery enough that you should be able to use your brush and get out a lot of those tangles. So for that reason, I go through rinse out detanglers usually pretty fast. I don't always use ones that are curly girl friendly. For me, it just really needs to have slip. My favorite one, as I said, that is curly girl friendly is this one. And if I had my way, I'd just stock up on this one. But I do have quite a few that I'm trying to get rid of. And going forward, I am going to be using them and pay attention to the ones that really provide the most softness and slip. And those are the ones I'm going to buy going forward. So that is what I am going to say regarding detangling tips up to that point. And the other thing that I said, but I will also put in another video when I'm deep conditioning, is the same way that I rinse out the rinse out conditioner, I rinse out the deep conditioner the same way. And now again, we've done all these steps to add moisture and softening. We've done the pre-poo. Now we've used a moisturizing shampoo or co-wash and a rinse out conditioner, and they are depositing a little bit of moisture and softness every step of the way. So at this point, I should be able to detangle. If you find that you're having trouble at the very ends of your hair while you're detangling, I mean, you should see hair coming out at every step. So when you're I pinned it up, I need it again. When you're holding the ends and you start here, you should get some tangled hair out. Once you move your hands up and brush again, you should be getting more tangled. So every step of the way as I am going up, I am getting tangled hair out. It is mostly sitting in the roots, so you want to be sure that the last part is going from roots to ends, getting the tangled webs out of your hair. So I think that's it, you guys. I think that's all I wanted to say on that. Really, in actuality, I am getting out shedded hair in every step. There is no time that I get 100% of the shed hairs out of my hair. I just aim to do it when I'm rinsing out the conditioners more than any other step, because that's when it's softest, that's when it's slippiest. If you're finding that right at the ends you're having a lot of trouble with your brush getting through, then that could mean tangled hair, but it could very well be split ends. And trimming that hair to try to even up some of those split ends will help drastically in you being able to detangle. So if you're having a lot of tangle trouble, be sure to look at the ends of your hair and make sure they're not, all different kinds of lengths, and make sure, they're not thin, because guaranteed there's some sort of breakage going on there that will make detangling harder than it should be.